Anti-Corruption Directorate. She has had many notable positions within her government, serving as chief prosecutor, focusing on organized crime, forensics, and of course, corruption. She also served as the Minister Counselor Representative to the Romanian Ministry of Justice at the European Commission, and has held other distinguished positions in the law enforcement area within the government of Romania. So for our first panelist, I'll give the floor to Ms. Kövesi.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Thank you for inviting me here today, and I'm very honored to speak at this high-level anniversary debate. Ladies and gentlemen, I am the Chief Prosecutor of the National Anti-Corruption Directorate, D.N.A., a specialized prosecutor's office having exclusive jurisdiction in investigating high-level corruption. The UN Convention Against Corruption was ratified by Romania in 2004. At that time, corruption used to be a systemic problem in Romania. Corruption investigations used to deal only with petty crimes. 15 years after the convention was ratified, things have radically changed in Romania. Combating high-level corruption is active, and we have become a positive model in our region. For the last 5 years, D.N.A. has indicted more than 68 high officials, 14 ministers and former ministers, and 53 members of the parliament. The courts have already ruled final conviction decisions against 27 of them. The rest of the cases are still pending in court. At the same time, D.N.A. has ordered seizure measures of over $2.3 billion. How has D.N.A. achieved these results? In my opinion, 3 important recommendations provided by the UN Convention led to this radical change: an efficient criminal legislation, a specialized prosecutor's office, and the integrity and independence of the judiciary. First, the Romanian anti-corruption legislation has been adopted according to the Convention's regulations. All of the mandatory provisions on the criminalization of corruption crimes and most of the non-mandatory ones have been implemented. Second, D.N.A. was set up and its legal jurisdiction to investigate high-level corruption was provided by law. The anti-corruption prosecutors are independent in their activity. This independence is doubled by responsibility. And last but not least, the most important and necessary condition for an efficient fight against corruption is the integrity and independence of the judiciary. Only a professional, independent, and honest justice system can fight against corruption efficiently. The independence of the judiciary is not a privilege for judges and prosecutors. It is a fundamental principle in a democratic society. Only an independent judiciary can ensure a fair trial. Only an independent judiciary can enforce the law equally for everybody. The investigations carried out by the anti-corruption prosecutors have been received with hope and trust by the Romanian society. But at the same time, our results determined a counter-reaction. There have been repeated attempts to limit the efficiency of our investigations by initiatives of amending the anti-corruption legislation, by restricting the tools used by the prosecutors, or by denying waiving the immunity of the politicians involved in corruption cases. The entire justice system has faced attacks in the form of fake news and public statements, which could weaken the public trust in the judiciary. Thus, the most important challenge we are faced now in Romania is to keep the independence of the judiciary and the stability of the legislation. These are essential for the anti-corruption prosecutors to be efficient. This is why the recommendations of the UN Convention remain as critical as important today as they were 15 years ago. Although we come from different legal systems, we face the same challenges in terms of independence and efficiency in combating corruption. I think we should reflect together on how the recommendations of the EU Convention are being respected. Thank you for your attention.
Thank you, Ms. Kövesi. I'm now going to give the floor to Guo Xiaomei, currently Deputy Director General of the Department of Treaty and Law for the Ministry of Foreign Affairs of China. She has more than 20 years' experience in the field of public and private international law and participated in the negotiations for the UN Convention Against Corruption as member of the Chinese delegation. She's focused these days on law enforcement cooperation, mutual legal assistance, and extradition,